You do not win modern wars with tiny cars. For decades, that was the rule. Armies conquered with weight, armor, and firepower. With steel tracks chewing earth, with trucks the size of houses and tanks that drank fuel by the barrel. Anything small, light, and open to the sky was a liability. A toy? A death trap? Military planners believed mobility meant mass. If a vehicle couldn't carry a platoon or mount a heavy gun, it didn't belong on the battlefield. If it didn't protect its crew with steel, it wasn't worth the fuel. The doctrine was ironclad, written into manuals and budgets and procurement boards. In the late 1930s, the United States Army had horses, motorcycles, and a few aging trucks. What it did not want was a strange, squat little vehicle with no doors, a canvas top, and tires barely wider than a man's shoulders. They called it unnecessary. They called it underpowered. Some officers called it flatly worthless. After all, what kind of war could be changed by something that weighed just over 2,000 pounds? But in 1940, during a dusty set of mock battles in Louisiana, one officer watches this worthless machine do something no doctrine can explain. And in that moment, the rule begins to crack. You are Lieutenant Colonel Dwight David Eisenhower. You are 49 years old. You are not famous. Not yet. You have spent most of your career behind desks, writing training manuals, planning logistics, and watching other men get the glory. You have never commanded troops in combat. Some officers quietly believe your career has stalled for good, but you have one defining trait. You notice things other men dismiss. In the summer of 1940, you are assigned to the largest military exercise in American history, the Louisiana Maneuvers. Nearly 400,000 soldiers spread across 3,400 square miles. This is the U.S. Army trying to learn how to fight a modern war before that war comes knocking. Europe is already burning. Germany has crushed Poland in weeks. France has collapsed in days. Blitzkrieg Vask, coordinated mechanized warhouse, rewritten every assumption. The U.S. Army knows it is behind, desperately behind. So everything is being tested. New tactics, new units, new equipment, including a strange new vehicle the Quartermaster Corps barely approved. Officially, it is called a Patton 4x4 reconnaissance car. Unofficially, soldiers already have a name for it. Jeep. The specifications were absurd. The Army demanded a four-wheel drive vehicle weighing under 1,300 pounds, able to carry 600 pounds, climb 30-degree slopes, and reach 50 miles per hour all on a 49-day deadline. Most manufacturers laughed. One company, Bantam, built a prototype that barely met the requirements. Willys and Ford followed with heavier, more powerful versions. The Army still wasn't convinced. And now, here in Louisiana, the Jeep faces judgment. If it fails, it disappears. If it succeeds, it challenges everything the Army thinks it knows. You watch it roll toward the dust and heat, and you wait. The exercise begins at dawn. Dust hangs in the air like smoke. The heat climbs fast 90 degrees by mid. Infantry units slog forward on foot. Trucks bog down in mud. Motorcycles tip and stall. Then the Jeep moves. It doesn't roar. It buzzes. Its 60-horsepower Willys Go Devil engine rattles like a toolbox on wheels. You see it first, weaving through trees where trucks can't go, then splashing through streams up to its hubs, then climbing embankments that force men to grab roots and pull. A Jeep carries a radio team across broken ground in minutes. Another tows a 37mm anti-tank gun that supposedly requires a truck. One hauls wounded men, two on stretchers laid across the seats, a third clinging to the rear. Time Italiano. What takes a foot patrol 3 hours, the Jeep does in 20 minutes. Officers scoff at first, then they start asking for rides. You ride in one yourself. The wind slaps your face. The suspension bucks. Your boots rattle against the floor. There is no armor, no protection. Just speed and access. And suddenly, you understand. This is not a truck. This is not a car. This is a mechanical extension of the soldier. During one simulated engagement, a Jeep unit cuts through swampy ground, thought impassable. They appear on the enemy's flank, radios crackling. Artillery adjusts fire. The umpires halt the exercise. The result is decisive. You hear a colonel mutter, "That shouldn't have been possible." But it was. Day after day, the pattern repeats. Jeeps deliver ammunition under fire. They lay phone wire. They evacuate casualties. They scout roads. They serve as command posts, ambulances, gun tractors, and supply mules. One Jeep racks up 1,600 miles in the exercise without a major breakdown. Failure seems impossible. Now, but approval is not guaranteed. Back in Washington, procurement boards still see problems. The Jeep is overweight. It guzzles fuel. It offers no armor. In a real war, they argue, it will get men killed. You write your report anyway. You do not hedge. You do not soften your words. You state plainly that the Jeep is essential, that it enables speed, flexibility, and initiative, that it allows small units to act independently, that, without it, the Army will fight the next war blind and slow. It is a risk. You are not a general. You are not famous. But the report lands at exactly the right moment. In July 1941, the Army orders 16,000 Jeeps. By the end of the war, it will order over 640,000. The worthless vehicle wins. The war comes fast. By 1942, Jeeps are everywhere. North Africa, dust-choked and sun-bleached. Sicily, bouncing over stone roads under fire. Normandy, splashing off landing craft into cold surf. You hear German soldiers nickname it the Pygmy Car. British troops call it the greatest American contribution to modern warfare. General George Marshall calls it America's greatest contribution to modern warfare. A Jeep carries 4 men, a machine gun, and a month's worth of improvisation. It mounts .30 O caliber and .5 O caliber guns. It pulls gliders. It ferries generals. It sneaks patrols behind enemy lines at night. Engine idling headlights taped to slits. In the Ardennes, during the Battle of the Bulge, Jeeps run non-stop through snow and shellfire, delivering ammunition to surrounded units. Drivers sleep in the seats, engines running so oil won't freeze. In the Pacific, Marines strip Jeeps to the frame, bolt on armor, and drive them across coral and jungle trails never meant for vehicles. Everywhere, the same truth emerges. Speed beats size. Flexibility beats doctrine, and a soldier with mobility becomes dangerous far beyond his numbers. What the enemy doesn't realize at first is how deeply this changes the battlefield. German intelligence reports mention the Jeep constantly. They note its ubiquity, its adaptability, its role in rapid American advances after D-Day. When Allied forces push inland faster than planners predicted, the Jeep becomes the nervous system of the Allied Army. Orders move faster. Supplies arrive sooner. Wounded leave the front in minutes instead of hours. Commanders move with their units, not behind them. Entire doctrines shift. Post-war armies around the world copy it. The Soviet GAZ-67, the British Land Rover, dozens more. The Jeep teaches militaries that mobility is not just about machines, it is about empowering individuals. And for you, Dwight Eisenhower, the lesson sticks. You'll rise fast. Brigadier General, Supreme Allied Commander. When you plan the invasion of Europe, you prioritize mobility, logistics, and flexibility, the same qualities you saw in Louisiana dust years earlier. The Jeep never wins a battle alone, but it is everywhere. Battles are won. After the war, the Jeep goes home. It becomes a farm tool, a hunting vehicle, a symbol of rugged freedom. Veterans recognize its shape instantly. So do civilians who never heard its engine under fire. Dwight Eisenhower becomes President of the United States. In his later years, he lists the Jeep among the few tools that helped win the war. Not the biggest, not the strongest, but the most adaptable. Today, original wartime Jeeps sit in museums, paint chipped, metal scarred. Some still run, their engines still chatter the same way they did in 1940. They remind us that history does not always turn on grand speeches or massive machines. Sometimes it turns on something everyone else thought was worthless. If this story moved you, please hit that like button. Every click tells the algorithm this piece of history is worth remembering. We're dedicated to rescuing these forgotten stories from the archives. If you want to join us on that mission, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Where are you watching from? Drop a comment with your city or state. Tell us if someone in your family served. Thank you for ensuring that the soldiers who drove, rode and trusted the Jeep do not disappear into silence. They deserve to be remembered.